up, y'all? This is Isaiah B. I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly for checking out the channel, the videos, the comments, the subscriptions, all of that, man. It really does mean a lot to me. So before I start, I do want to say I have a bit of a cold, so I may be cough from time to time. I apologize beforehand. So to get right into this video, I want to talk about social media and its effects on relationships. So I was in conversation with a friend yesterday. We were talking about modern relationships and how social media has played an instrumental role in the detriment of a lot of these relationships. Now, when I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, Snapchat, the dating apps, YouTube, you name it, I'm most likely referring to it. Now, there's a lot of reasons for the detriment of relationships, but social media plays a huge role into that, you know? And a lot of the times, the internal comparison is what is the main root. You know, you'll have a couple, maybe they just met, and they're still courting, they're still vetting each other, still getting to know each other, right? But let's say one of them goes on social media. Just after a few swipes, the person who went on an app, they now think differently of themselves as well as the relationship with the other person. There's a lot of issues with that, you know, because that person's now comparing themselves to people who they don't know, people who, you know, may not even be living the life that the person thinks they're living. You know, so there's just a lot of implications around that and considerations that people need to make. But that's not typically what happens. You know, nobody's typically thinking about this when they're scrolling. They're just scrolling thinking, oh, damn, I'm not shit. Oh, their life is so much better than mine. They got so much more money than me. They're so much taller than me. They look so much better than me. You know, the person just keeps going on and on with the internal dialogue. And this causes, you know, that person to think differently about themselves. And in turn, the other person, you know. And this is a huge issue. You know, it really is, because like I said, you know, you don't really know the people that are, you know, popping up on your page. You don't know who they say they are. You know, you don't know if they're full of crap. You know what I mean? You don't know who the people are in general. But instead, you're comparing yourself instead of just valuing yourself and valuing a relationship. And you know, if one does this, they should be in a good space. But if they don't, it leads to, you know, the comparison thing. And that dialogue keeps on going and going. You know what I mean? And, you know, social media also causes people to think that the grass is greener on the other side. You know, where you have couples who have been together for a substantial amount of time. And, you know, just all of a sudden, you know, after they spend a few, you know, it adds up. So days, weeks, months, years of just being on an app, you know, on and off, of course, that person starts to think, you know, maybe this person isn't right for me. You know what I mean? Like maybe I wasted 5, 10, 20 years with this person. I think maybe we should break up. You know what I mean? Maybe we should get a divorce. You know, maybe we should start to see other people. You know what I mean? And this is a huge detriment, because even though you may come across someone who's better looking, or maybe have a better body, a better face, muscles, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that that person's right for you. You know what I mean? And so with you leaving that person who has held it down for you, I'm assuming held it down for you for that time you guys have been on a good, you know, on an up and up. For you to leave that person for a dream, I would call it silly, you know, and foolish, you know. So definitely keep that in mind when you're on social media. Don't always keep in, you know, tabs on what other people are doing or comparing yourself with other people, because the grass is not always greener on the other side, you know. The other side may be filled up with snakes. The other side may be filled up with lies, deceit, you know, scandals, So don't always think it's always better, just because it's different. Sometimes you cool where you at. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to overextend yourself for a job, to get a certain job. You don't have to, excuse me, you don't have to buy that new car. You don't have to put yourself in debt to have jewelry. You know what I mean? You don't have to go out your way to try to keep up with the Joneses. Stay exactly where you at and keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing. And another dangerous effect of social media is that it causes people to be able to move on fast, and, when it comes down to social media, everybody has social media, so think about your sister, your brother, your uncle, your aunt, your dad, your mom, anybody you could think of, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-boy, whatever, right? Think about how many people, just alone that who has social media. And you start to name them right now, the list will go on for days. Everybody has social media. And it's such a dangerous thing because a lot of these people, when they get into relationships and something goes wrong, they're able to meet somebody at the drop of a hat, They're able to move on so quickly, Now, of course, I'm not talking about the emotional move on. There still be baggage and toxicity and contempt, all of that, right? But I'm talking about the physical moving on from one relationship to the next. It's so easy. Right now is the easiest it's ever been. Because you have Instagram, you have Facebook, Snapchat, the dating apps in general. It's so easy. Couples could be arguing at 1 a.m. Couples like to argue in the morning, when I have to work the next day. You know what I mean? But yeah, a couple could be arguing at 1 in the morning. They'll be on a date fucking 10 hours later. 11 a.m. the next day, they could be on a date. Or the same day, I should say. They'll meet somebody that fast. And that's dangerous, man. Because people tend to make very emotional decisions when they're going through a breakup or on the verge of a breakup. Very emotional. And social media allows that person to now put their emotions into action, It's sad, in my opinion. It's very sad. And, a lot of people feel as though, they should be able to move on and be able to meet somebody new, get that quick ability to meet somebody who's right for them, that perfect person, that perfect woman, that perfect man, right? But no, man, you need to heal. That's what you really need to do. You really need to heal. Because a lot of people get out of one relationship, jump right into the next one. And got the nerve to say that everything's fine, everything's dandy. They're over their ex. Hey, man, I'm just telling you what happens. Really would tell you straight up that they're over their ex. That's red flag number one, Because if you really over your ex, talk about what you did to heal. Talk about how you overcame certain things, what you did internally to fix yourself. Then I'll start to believe you. But typically people just meet somebody. Oh, this didn't work out. Oh, bet I'm gonna meet somebody new. It's insane. But social media gives people the ability to do so, And then I can even go into the dating apps and spiritually how people are able to now have easier access to sex and just soul ties and energy and karma. I can do a whole video on that. But, I actually did a video on that. You should check that out. Discussing the soul ties, that happens. And I talked about, being careful about who you sleep with, making sure they have good energy and all that. But, like I said, social media just makes it so much easy for people to move on, to meet somebody new, which is not always a good thing, you know, because sometimes it's good to just heal on your own. And then there's other times where it's good to heal with the person who you were dealing with. You know, just because you argue with somebody, that doesn't mean that you have to get rid of them. It doesn't mean that you have to break up with them. You know, sometimes people have disputes. Sometimes people have disagreements, and that's okay. But what's not okay is for somebody to just throw someone else in the middle of it, because sometimes people are thrown into a situation without being conscious of what's actually going on. You know, there's a lot of men who have met new women who have suddenly thrown that woman into a situation where she's now about to be harmed because the ex-girlfriend thinks that this girl is, you know, or vice versa. Is a lot of women who thrown other men into harm's way because the new guy, you know, is he's cool with the old guy, but the new guy didn't know. And, you know, the issues just go on. You know, there's a lot of BS that results from this, and social media typically is the catalyst within this. So definitely take the time to heal and try to patch up what you can, you know. And I'll go right into the other reason I should say, of, you know, the damage of social media and the effects of it. And it's a simple fact that people typically develop a big ego from social media. You know, they develop a huge ego. And let that person have thousands and even millions of followers. Oh man, their head is huge, you know. And you can't tell that person nothing, because that person now has developed a false sense of self. They may even develop an alter ego, but that person may believe that they're bigger than life and bigger than the world itself. And this is troubling, particularly if that person wants a relationship with someone else, because that person can't see the wrongs in their life. They can't see the issues that they have because they're used to people praising them. They're used to getting the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. They're used to it. So if you tell this person, you know, you're a good person, or, you know, this is cool, this is good, but you should work on this, but you should fix that. That person's now going to think that you're talking bad about them and that you're chastising them. When in actuality, you're trying to help them. You're trying to correct them. You know, it's just a thought, but it happens. It's prevalent. And with people having a lot of followers, subscribers, or what have you, you know, they're not able to hear this. It goes in one ear and goes out the other, you know. And, you know, relationships just take a toll from that, because that person will start to develop, you know, the thoughts that they can always do better. You were their last choice anyway. You know, they can always get better than you. And it limits their ability to relate to people in a sense, because that person now thinks that they have to meet somebody who's either on their level or above. You know, when in actuality, they could just be somebody who they really vibe with, that they cool with. But if that person don't have the subscribers, the numbers like they do, it's like that person doesn't exist. And of course, this isn't every instance. You know, this isn't going to be generalized, but there's a lot of people who this does apply to, that can resonate with this. So, you know, just the big ego part, one has to keep themselves in check. You know, no matter how big they get, how much money they receive, stay true to you. You know, stay true to yourself. You know. And so, you know, social media, it just has been a whirlwind of issues that came with it. I've named some reasons in this video. You know, definitely comment and let me know some more issues that you see that result from social media. But I would say with social media, even though it has, you know, paid some people's bills as people are starting to get monetized, social media also has been a huge detriment to a lot of relationships. And it's caused a lot of people to break up prematurely. and has caused a lot of people to get into situationships, even have babies prematurely. And so, you know, with all these considerations in mind, one has to begin to think about what social media has done to them. You know, even you, ask yourself that question. Do you believe that social media has helped or benefited you, or that it has negatively affected you? Only you can answer that question. But that's for you to decide. So that's it, you guys. You know, I just want to drop some gems. You know, I'm still a little sick, as you can hear it in my voice, but I want to push out this video for you guys. I appreciate you guys again. And I promise more is coming. More is coming. All right, you guys. Peace. Love you.